still preparing. So
Good
I just
morning,
want to
everyone.
okay, he's ready. Okay, Dr. Bethel.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I just took a second to start the recording up again so that we can make sure to record the session. Thanks once again for joining us for this session. The majority of the session, I'm actually going to be focusing on what's new in Moodle 4.0. In the earlier welcome, I explained a little bit about what our mission and vision is. Just to say a brief word about that, in order to achieve the quality instruction that we talked about, one of the things that you're going to notice this semester is we're really going to be putting an emphasis on those online faculty competencies. All of you who are actually teaching online would have received last semester the teaching competencies poll. We're going to take the results of that and direct our training efforts to some of those areas that people have said that they don't feel as confident with as some of the others. For example, the Moodle grade book, I think, was one, and I can't remember off the top of my head what some of the others were. The second thing that we're going to be doing also is going to be reinforcing our online course quality index to ensure that all the online courses that we produce meet the requirements of those quality criteria and that we provide training for course builders so that while they're building these online courses, they are doing it with these quality criteria in mind. So look out for training sessions on both those topics, but also some support materials that should help us to meet the goals of high quality courses and high quality learning and instruction. Welcome once again then to the session. We're going to be really focusing on what's new in Moodle 4.0. So what do I mean by Moodle 4.0? Well, with each new release of software, the first release of that software is usually titled version 1 or Moodle 1.0. And as that particular version is upgraded, you'll see 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, etc., etc., etc. We are presently working with the Moodle 3.11 version, and we are hoping to transition to the newer version of Moodle, which is Moodle 4, and I think it's now 4.26. In the transition between Moodle 3 and Moodle 4, there is a significant difference in the look and feel of the platform. And so what I want to do for you in this session is to give a brief preview to what the platform looks like, some of the tools and capabilities of the platform, and how you can get the most out of it when we do make that transition from Moodle 3 to Moodle 4. So for today, the first thing we're going to talk about what is Moodle 4.0 and what are the key things about it that differ from some of the previous versions of Moodle that we've been using in the past. We're going to preview the look and feel of the platform. And when you see the platform itself, you'll see that it looks very, very different from what you're using now, even though a lot of the tools are, uh, I should say, a lot of the functionality that you're familiar with is still there, just looks different, and you access it differently. Then I'm going to give you a preview of what the student sees in Moodle 4.0. And then we're going to go over what you as an instructor will see in 4.0 and look at some of the different things that you may be using already, how they differ from what you're presently using. One, the edit mode, and this is probably the single best feature of the new platform. Text editor, how to build HTML, etc. Some of the different icons, and then how you can access the different activities. Before we begin the demos then, does anyone have any questions, anything in particular that you might want me to focus on, particularly when we're going through the instructor demo?
Well, there is a question in the chat, Dr.
Okay,
Bethel.
yeah,
Professor George uh,
Odiambo.
Odiambo, yes, he's
Yeah.
asking, are we transitioning to Moodle 4.20, or I think 4.00 this semester?
Not this semester. What we would, oh, can't see the slides moving? Oh Lord, I didn't even catch that. Has everyone been able to see my slides moving from slide to slide now?
Right now, you're on the agenda page.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like it's working now. So are we transitioning from Moodle 2.0 this semester? We never want to, or we will never be transitioning from one platform to another in trans uh, in semester. What we will be doing, however, is um, setting up a demo platform where if faculty are interested, they can try out some of the new features in the new platform, and they can see how their classes can be built in the new platform, and even go ahead and build, for example, summer or fall classes in that new platform, so that when we do the soft launch, which is most likely going to be in summer 2025, they actually can have their new course already built in the new 4.0 platform, and then they can just migrate it over straight away, so that they don't have to worry about building it out in the new platform when we go move from 3.11 to 4. Okay, good. That answers the question. Excellent. Will current course information be migrated over to 4.00? Yes. So we're in discussions with our Moodle host, and we will be talking to them about how many back semesters of courses we can move over. But the long and short answer, or I should say that the short answer is as much content as possible will be migrated directly into the new platform, so that when we launch the new platform, you can access your older courses. But any content that is not necessarily moved over, we will back up and restore in the new platform, so you will still be able to access that new content in that old content in the new format. Does that answer the question, um, Professor Moxley?
Yes, yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So as I was saying, one of the key innovations that was behind the transition from Moodle 3 to Moodle 4 is usability. Many of the Moodle users, be they instructors or learners, have in the past said that Moodle is great. It allows us to do so many different things, but the look and feel is a little bit clunky. There are too many clicks to get from one place to another. The screen is too cluttered. What can you do in a platform redesign to provide a much cleaner look and feel for our students and our instructors? And so that's how they came up with Moodle 4.0. What I'm going to do now then is move over to a student preview of the Moodle 4.0 platform. So now let me see if I can do this without too much problems. Oh, okay, so tell me if you can see a Moodle page. Well, it looks like a web page that says
Yes.
"Welcome back, admin."
Admin.
Everyone can see
Yes.
that? Good.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, this is, um, and I thought I put myself into student mode here. Sorry, let me just go and switch into student mode. This is an example of a Moodle 4.0, well, this is like actually a Moodle 4.2 site that I've created for use in another organization. You're looking presently at the student dashboard, and just by looking at the student dashboard, you'll notice that there are several things that are different from what you saw before. One, there are not a whole bunch of navigation tools right down here within the dashboard board itself. The only thing that you're seeing in the dashboard is the calendar down at the bottom and the next, the upcoming events showing in your timeline. So how do I get from there to my courses? Well, all of that stuff now has been added to a sticky menu that is always available at the top of the screen. So if I want to switch from my dashboard to my courses, instead of finding my courses on my dashboard, I can always access them just by clicking up here on the My Courses tab. And now I see all the courses appearing below rather than having to access all the courses from my screen. When I click into my course, you'll notice also there's another huge difference in the look and feel. Notice how clean and empty the course looks compared to courses that you would have seen in Moodle before. Notice there's nothing on the right side and nothing on the left side. All you can see is a little tab here, and if I click this, I get the course index. Notice again that the only thing appearing on this course index is the course index. You don't have things like grades, participants, etc., etc., etc. These things now are available in a menu that's appearing at the top of the course here. Okay, and I can always close this course index or open that course index just by clicking the little tab there. One of the things that my students always are looking for, how do I find my grades? Well, now it's much easier for them to access the grades. It's just right there in the tab at the top of the course. And I now see the student, the student view of my course gradebook. Good. Any questions about the student view so far? Note also that when they click into activities, the activities themselves, once launched, look very similar to how they did in Moodle 3.11. The actual course itself looks the same. This is an H5P. It looks exactly the same as it did in the Moodle 3.11 course. The only difference is these requirements for course completion continue to appear at the top of the course and not just on the course homepage. Notice that the navigation breadcrumbs look slightly different here as well. It's much clearer how you can get back to the course itself and return to the course homepage. Similarly, quizzes look very similar to how they looked before. Now you'll notice that this one is locked because I did not complete the first assignment, so I can't access it. And you'll see the little lock appearing to the side of it to indicate that I cannot move from one to the next. I'm just going to take that off really quickly so that you can see how a quiz would look once launched. And I go into the quiz, it looks exactly the same as it did before. The main difference is here, you now have this little X that will allow you to close this right-hand column if me as a student, if I just want to see the questions on the page itself. Again, you could always access the course index from this tab here. If I want to a link out of this particular quiz and move on to other parts of the course. Good. Any questions about the student view?
There is another question in the chat, Dr. Bethel, not necessarily about the student view.
Okay.
The question is, does it still show a list of assignments?
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
dates?
Yes. Yeah. And so, Professor Brennan, that's what would appear in the timeline here. So if I had from any of my courses, any upcoming assignments that are date sensitive, anything in the next 7 days will appear on my dashboard in this window right here. And I can change that to the next 30 days, anything overdue, or whatever the case might be. But the default is for 7 days, and yes, they will appear in that in that dashboard window. Return to my normal mode. Does that answer the question?
As Professor Brennan? Yes. There is another question.
Okay, go ahead.
If we do not want to lock the weeks, can that be done as to enable students to progress as desired?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that um, that course that I showed, one of the requirements of that course was that a student must complete one activity before being allowed to move on to the next activity. That's entirely built into that particular course. You don't have to construct it like that. In fact, the default is that unless you hide some activities, the student should be able to see the all the work that has been posted to the page. Good. So now I'm going to go into this. Well, I'm in the instructor view, and I'm going to go into a demo course that I've created to show how you can use the various editing features to build your course out in the new Moodle. Again, notice there's no right-hand column available. You can add blocks to that as you wish, and they will appear or disappear using the little arrow or little tab that we saw earlier in the quiz. Again, notice that any of the course administration features are appearing all at the top rather than in this left-hand tab. The left-hand tab is now exclusively for the course index. In other words, different tabs to take you to different parts of the course. For me, one of the most important new features of the Moodle 4.0 is edit mode. Previously, there was a little button at the top of the screen that you turn on, the little blue button that you would see that you would turn on. And actually, you know what? Let me open up Moodle, the old Moodle, so we can see what I'm talking about. This is the existing Moodle. And if I go into one of my courses, I'll see that I have this turn editing on button here. And if I'm scrolling through my courses, where that button has disappeared. I got to go scroll back up to the top of the course, click the turn editing on to start editing my course. Well, in the new Moodle, that button is always available at the top of the screen. It's anchored there, so no matter how much you scroll through the course, you can always turn editing on or turn it off. Note that when I turn editing on, you would see the block drawer appearing. I can go in here to add a block if I want blocks to appear. Let's say I want my, which one of these blocks do I want? Recent activity to appear as a block. Now that that's there, I can open or close that as I wish. Again, course index appears on the right. Now that I've turned the edit on, you can see that I can go ahead and add activities or resources to my course homepage. I'm going to open that up just so that we can see what the different activities and resources look like. Note that that's the second big change in Moodle 4.0 is that the icons used are very different from what you are familiar with in Moodle 3.11. When I add an activity there, this is what those activities look like. Very colorful, highly differentiated, whereas in the new Moodle, it's a much cleaner, though less color differentiated types of icons. Now, colors are only used to differentiate between different types of activities or resources, as opposed to have a specific icon of that activity itself. I said that I was going to briefly go over what the HTML editor looks like. That too has been changed. So I'm going to go into add new page just so you can quickly see what that looks like. Note that that editor is a lot different now. This is now called the tiny editor. The one that we used before was the Addo editor. It contains all of the same features. The main difference here is that to expand the editor, instead of using an arrow down that would appear to the left, you use the three ellipses appearing to the right, and you'll see any additional features appearing below. Other than that, the editor works in exactly the same way. Type. The other thing that I really do like about the new editor, though, is it contains the undo icon right here. So rather than having to worry about um, Control Z to undo what you've just done, you can just click the undo arrow or the redo arrow, and then go ahead and save your work. What was some of the other things that I wanted us to look at? Just quickly flip over here, text editor. We looked at the icons and some of the different activities. So let's just exit this and look at some of the different activities to see how they're different. And I'm kind of rushing through it because it's at 11:26, so I don't have much time left. Again, add an activity or resource is just as before, but you the window appears very differently. You will note that creating the quiz looks exactly as it did before. It's just the screen has been cleaned up a little bit. All of the different choices are there as before. There are no differences as to what you can add to the quiz itself. I am going to go ahead and just give this quiz a. I'm not going to change any of the settings. I'm going to go ahead and save and display so you can see how you can actually create the quiz. The main difference here, again, the quiz settings are listed at the top of the screen as for all of the other pages in the new Moodle. Adding questions, though, are just as before. The big difference here is that you can add a question directly from that quiz homepage instead of having to click the settings menu on the side and then click edit quiz. So I can go ahead and add a question, and it allows me to create the question from scratch. Good. So it's now 11:28. Before we wrap up, I want to open up the floor for questions. I'm happy to demo any of the other features if anyone is interested in that. Any questions? Okay, evaluationing. Any questions about the new Moodle?
I'm not
Great.
seeing anything in the chat either.
Okay, excellent. So if there aren't any questions, then
Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Will there be any changes when it comes to the grading setup?
So when you say the grading setup, you mean how the gradebook actually looks, or the
Yes,
different?
the grade book itself.
Okay, so yeah, why don't I just go and do a brief preview of the gradebook itself? It actually does look a little bit different. One of the nice things I like about the new gradebook, and I really should go into a class. I really should go into a class with students itself. Let me just go into a class with students so you can see what that would look like. Um, so now I want to look at the grade. I want to look at we want to look at the grader report. Yeah, so note that again, the grader report is a much cleaner look than the old one. The other thing that I really like about the grader report is that so this is how it would look typically, with just the grades appearing in the students' columns. But as long as you turn on this edit mode, it will then allow you to go ahead and type the grade in if you want to override the student's grade. You can go ahead and just type that in and click save at the end. So yes, the grade looks different. However, the setup is just as before. So if I go to course setup, same type of thing where you can add categories, add grade items, and then put weightings and whatnot. All of that is the same. They've just stripped down the look and feel of it. Does that answer the question at all?
Yes, it does. One thing I wanted to find out about the grade book, I always had an issue with
Yeah.
mid-semester grade.
Okay.
Because we use MindTap, and I
Yes.
integrate all of my assignments. So if I have on
Yes.
I can't cut off once students had moved ahead to give them their mid-semester grade. I'm gonna have to download and calculate with the mid-semester grade, then put a separate column temporarily just for them to see their mid-semester grade.
So let me see if I understand the question correctly. Right now, what you're doing is you have MyTab integrated with the Moodle gradebook, and it's pulling the grades in
Mm-hmm.
periodically. But
Yes.
what has happened is that sometimes the students go and work ahead,
Yeah.
and those grades are pulled over to the Moodle gradebook. Um, and so it makes it more challenging on calculating a midterm grade.
Yes.
I see. So the there is a way that you could do that. It's a little more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
What it would involve is maybe hiding assignments on the Moodle and by date, so they only see the grades up to a certain point. But I tell you what, we do have a gradebook session on the 7th.
Okay.
Let me stick a pin in that one, and I
Mm-hmm.
will try what I'll even try and do is create like a little step by step on how that might be done uh, to facilitate those courses that are integrating with these other platforms.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's an excellent question. That's a great question. Anything else before we wrap up?
Just the another follow-up question, in a sense, to the gradebook question.
Mhm.
Is there any integration between the Moodle gradebook and the Banner gradebook?
So,
Because the official
yeah,
grades will still
yes, yeah,
be
yeah.
housed in Banner.
Yeah, so the short answer for that is we do have uh, an integration between Banner and Moodle. As you know, all of the course shells are created automatically from Banner to Moodle. All of the course registrations are created in Moodle from Banner. That integration has the capability of uploading Moodle grades to Banner. That part of the integration has not been turned on as yet. I'm making a note right now to set up a meeting with OIT to see if we can work on launching that second part of the integration. So the short answer is it's possible. We're not using that facility at this time. And you're asking because that's something that you want to see?
It would be good to have it, yes,
Okay.
that way, as opposed to
Having to go
going in at
manually
the
work
end of the
ahead.
semester and
Yeah.
entering the grades manually.
Okay. I will, I will push forward that one once again with OIT for sure.
Okay.
Dr. Bethel, there's a question in the chat asking if we can drop the lowest 2 grades in the grade book.
Yeah, absolutely. That's available even in the current Moodle 3.0. how we do that is for any particular category, you would just go into actions, edit category, and then at the grade category up here at the top, you'll see a show more, and then you can just select how many of the lowest grades you want to drop, 1, 2, whatever the case might be. And as I said, that's currently available in Moodle 3.11 as well. We will be going over that in the gradebook session on the 7th as well. Does that answer the question?
Oh,
Yeah,
another,
it's-
sorry, all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
A point
Yeah,
that I
it's okay.
found, oh, sorry, a point that I found out is that you cannot drop the lowest or two, how many lowest, however amount you want to drop, plus give a bonus. You can't do it in the same category.
Ah, yeah.
I found that out.
The hard way.
Yeah.
Giving extra credit in Moodle. So not in the gradebook can be tricky. And let me make a note of that. There are two ways you can do it. Both ways can be tricky. So I'm making a note on how you can go about doing it. The way, and you're absolutely right. The way that I do it is what I create a separate extra credit category, and put any of the assignments that I want to assign extra credit to that category. It's not perfect, but it gets away from that idea of having the drop drop grades plus have extra credit, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. I
Have you
do.
ever considered? So the question is, have you ever considered changing from Moodle or maybe Canvas? Excellent. And what I would ask is you reach out to me directly, because one of the things that we're going to be doing um, at the end of every contract, and this applies to any of our ed tech implementations, we want to evaluate that product, see whether it's serving our needs, and explore the universe of alternative products to see whether another product may work better for us. So I say that to say, I think that we're going to be coming up to the end of a contract with our learning management system in 2025. So if you are interested in being a product evaluator and or a product tester, please reach out to me directly. We will also be sending out that information directly to faculty. Excellent. Yeah, the link to the session, to the evaluation of the session is in the chat. So please go ahead and click on that, evaluate this session. Thank you so much. We went a little bit over time. I'm going to pause this session so I can download the recording from this session. And let's say Ms. Robinson, we start the next one at 11:40. Does that give you enough time? Or whatever
Yes, sir.
time is best for you?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
11:40 is fine.
Okay. So let me stop share.